B12. You know the drill. So good to be seen, and it's even better to see you. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. Recently, I have been posting more and more about the psychological aspect of everything veganism related. You know, there are many ways to attack veganism. Some people do it through cuisine. Some people do it through actual fitness. Some people attack it from a health standpoint, environmental standpoint, ethical standpoint. I like to do a little bit of everything, but I specifically prefer to attack it at the root of the problem, namely the way we think, the psychological aspects of veganism. And a lot of the things that I post about are perhaps about rebuttals and things that keep people from even attempting veganism. So that's the way I kind of approach this. And specifically today, I kind of want to talk about the verbiage. That is to say, the way we talk about one thing over another and what it actually means to go ahead and have a different perspective. And I want to specifically tackle why we choose to use certain words for one thing but not apply them to another. In other words, why do we use the word murder to refer to when an actual human dies against their will, but never use it when it comes to animals, and instead choose to use the word kill? You know, this is something that's fairly common. This is something that I've had conversations about with my very own friends by doing outreach, etc. So it's quite intriguing for me that we as humans choose to use different words for the same thing because it suits our conscience. It eases our guilt, and that's something I want to talk about today. Have you ever had that conversation with somebody who, for whatever reason, chooses to use the word, murder to refer to a human dying against their will as opposed to an animal dying against their will? So why do we say murder when it comes to human, but we don't use murder when it comes to animals? That's because we've been socially constructed to think that animals are somehow beneath us. If you know Earthling Ed, he harps on this fact that might does not equal right. And the reason why we differ these words is because we believe that as humans, we have superiority on some sort. And so as we see animals beneath us, we don't feel the need to justify their death by murder, as opposed to just merely killing them for whatever purpose we want to get out of them, whether it's food, whether it's leather, whether it's wool, whether it's, any other animal products, cosmetics, so on and so forth. And so I think the difference is that right there. The fact that we choose to use the word murder to refer to our own species as opposed to, painting the brush all over the place when it comes to animals as well. Why do we, for the life of us, exclude to use the word murder when it also applies to them? Because at the end of the day, an animal never wants to die. Nobody with a brain, with a heart, lungs, and feelings and emotions wants to die prematurely for any reason, whether they're sick or they want to become somebody's sandwich. So I think it's really important to keep in mind that words do matter. PETA recently launched a campaign to try and get people to think differently by the way they talk about something. There's adages like there's more than one way to skin a cat and kill two birds with one stone. Obviously, I don't use these phrases anymore, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to tell you. And so think about this for a second. Why do we choose a different word to justify a different action? Why are humans killed? Humans murdered and animals killed? You see what I'm trying to get at? So I think the psychological aspect of how we choose a word dictates exactly how we feel. It's actually called a neuro-linguistic programming. It's something I studied way back in the day, and it's basically explaining why we choose to use certain words, and they actually tell our way of thinking and how we manage and process that train of thought. So keep that in mind. So ask them, hey, why do you choose to use the word killing to justify the death of an animal as opposed to murder to justify the death of a human being? Ask them. More likely than not, they'll feel less guilty about it. They'll definitely whip out the superiority card, and honestly, it's just devastating to their argument if we're being honest. So ask them and keep in mind when it comes up in conversation. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, stick around by hitting that like button and subscribe on the way out. Many more videos coming your way. My name is Francis, and I thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next episode.